Saturday sometime. I work Saturday. So your weekly is going to be due on Friday. We're going to have a test on Thursday. We got our final review packet tomorrow. So there's a lot of stuff. This is a good week. Good week to be here. We're going to close out Slope, and next week we'll start something brand new. So you can close down your Chromebooks and get out your notebooks. Isaiah, get out your notebooks. Close down your Chromebook. We're finding slope with the calculator. Now, we'll write something down. I'm going to show you some things. We're going to kind of take it slow. We start out with this. I don't know how much you used a calculator last year, so I'm going to assume you don't know how to do this. Third period did not. After we did 4 or 5 examples, they were able to do it on their own, no problem. Okay? If you can work a cell phone, you can work these calculators, and you guys can work a cell phone better than I can. All right? So when you have something like this, they give you coordinates. Now we have worked with this just a little bit. We can find slope with a formula, but there's also times when they give you this and they ask for the y-intercept or they ask for an equation. Okay, so everybody just put your calculators down for a second. We're going to take some notes, we're going to look at things, and then we're going to pick those calculators up and work with them. When I have, now listen to me guys. I'm already excited about this year's EOG. I'm not lying. I was talking to my husband. I said, you know, I'm already excited to see what these kids, because the scores you had last year, some of you, it doesn't reflect the kind of student that you really are. I'm already excited to see what you guys are going to make and how much growth you're going to have. I really am. There's 2 parts to our EOG in 8th grade, math. 1 part's without a calculator, 1 part's with a calculator. And by all means, when you can use a calculator, use that sucker, okay? I had a parent one time tell me, well, I just don't see why they use calculators in school. We didn't use calculators in school. And I looked at her and I said, you know what? My grandma didn't have a washing machine either. And she had to go and she had to get water in a tub and she had to wash those clothes in a tub. But by golly, I am glad we have washing machines now. And I'm going to use that washing machine. You know, way back when, no, they didn't. But now, we do. Okay? So if anybody gives you a hard time for using a calculator, you say, you know, there's times we don't use a calculator, but there's times we're going to use a calculator. Right? Didn't have cell phones 20 years ago either, but almost every family has a cell phone. So, anyway, that argument, I throw that out the window. If you have your points written like this, and you can use a calculator, okay? And you can use a calculator, what I want you to do is I want you to rewrite your second parentheses underneath your first. And I'm going to show you why. That little step is going to help you so much not to mess up. Then I want you to just kind of draw a line down between them. This column right here is going to be our list 1. We're going to put an L and a 1. This column right here is going to be our list 2. We're going to put an L and a 2. Now, everybody take your calculator, turn it on, and clear the memory. If you do not remember how to clear the memory, it is second plus 7, 1, 2. Now, does everybody see this button right here? If you look at the screen, I'll have my calculator up there and you kind of follow along with me. See this button right here? It's called STAT. See that STAT button? Everybody press the stat button. Everybody press the stat button. Isaiah, put that down so I can kind of see your calculator. Thank you, baby. So when you press the stat button, everybody's calculator should come up to this. Everybody press the stat button. Stat, it's right here. S-T-A-T, stat. Everybody press that button. Everybody with me? Now there's only one of me, but I'll come around and help you, okay? I'm going to make sure everybody's on the same page. When you press this, this kind of is our working program. You're going to hear me say, when we use the calculator, well, you're going to go to stat. Stat is our best friend, okay? We're going to use that a lot. And if you just press enter, press enter, you guys got to pay attention. If you're zoning, some of you are zoning, you got to focus. Don't zone. This next few minutes, you better focus. That brings up our list, okay? So let's come to our notes. We press stat. Write this down in your notes. We press stat. Isaiah, is that your notebook? That's why you was hiding that from me. You forgot your notebook at home? You're going to have to transfer those into your notes, okay? All right. So you're going to go to stat, and then you're going to hit enter. And what that does, that brings up your list 1 and list 2. Now, with us rewriting our parentheses, we already have our numbers written in the way that we're going to put them in our calculator. So in list 1, we're going to put 2, enter, -1, enter. Then we're going to go over. See this little arrow key right here? We're going to go over to list 2. We're going to put in negative, and I didn't show, but negative is down here. -7, enter, and 6, enter. Now let's just stop for a second. Let's just stop. You look at your calculator and you look at my calculator on the screen. Do you have the same things I have? You've got a -1, and you've got a -7, you've got a 2, you've got a 6. You've got those things in your calculator? Has everybody got that? Anybody not have that? I'll come and help you. Okay? Alright, so this is why we rewrote our stuff. Okay? So I'm going to clear the memory out on this section. So I got 2, enter, -1, enter. I go over, -7, enter, 6. Okay? Alright, now, everybody's got the same thing. Stat edit. 2, enter. Enter, -1, enter, -7, enter, 6, enter. Okay? Now, one thing I want to remind you guys, sometimes kids play around with this, and you see these, everybody look up at the screen, you see the L1, L2, L3, sometimes they clear those. If you ever open up your list and you don't have L1, L2, L3, give me your calculator so I can reprogram it. Okay? So now we've got our information in there. Now we're going to come back to that stat button. Everybody press that stat button again. Stat. Okay, now look at your calculator, look up at mine at the screen. Okay? I'm going to go over to calculate. I'm going to take my arrow key here, and I'm going to go over to calculate. And I want number 4. I want the line. I want number 4. Aubrey, can I see your calculator for a second? There's 2 different types of calculators in this school. Do you see my calculator up there on the screen? Look at Aubrey's calculator. There's 2 different types of calculators. Now I can't guarantee which calculator you're going to get throughout the year or testing. So you've got to know both of them. If you have a calculator like mine, raise your hand if you got a calculator like mine. Right here. If your calculator looks like mine. Okay. When you hit that 4, you're just going to hit enter. So hit enter. Devin, hit enter. Now, if you got a calculator like Aubrey has, you're going to go down and highlight the word calculate and then hit enter. But it doesn't matter. We have the same numbers in the end. Okay? Now, ooh, it's some funky numbers, aren't they? All right, before we write those numbers down, let's come back to our notes. We put our stuff in list 1 and list 2, then we said stat over to calculate, and then we wanted number 4. And after you hit 4, based on the type of calculator you have, you're either going to hit enter or you're going to go down to calculate and hit enter. Now, look at this. We got to know some things about our calculator. In your calculator, A stands for slope. Why they chose A, I do not know. So in the calculator, A equals slope. Now we know that we use M. And if you look at your calculator, look here at this equation. Y equals AX plus B is the same thing. Y equals AX plus B is the same. It's the same as what we were saying, Y equals MX plus B. It's that same thing. Now, in our calculator, the B is still your y-intercept. They use the same letter for that. Now, when I look at this, I look at this slope, whoo, it's funky. I don't want to put that down as my slope. In my calculator, it looks like this. Negative 4.3, put that repeating sign. I want you to write that down, so I'm going to show you something. In my calculator, my y-intercept is 1.6, and that's repeating. But I want to clean that up a little bit. You're not going to see that as an answer choice on an EOG or on a test. But the cool thing is the calculator is going to help us out. First, I want to take that slope. I want you to watch what I do. I'm just going to put this number in the calculator. Watch it. Negative 4 point, and I'm going to take that 3 since it's repeating, and I'm going to go all the way across my screen until I get this little arrow right here. See that little arrow? Once I do that, I'm going to hit the buttons Math, Enter, Enter, and it's going to make a beautiful fraction for me. I want you to write that down. Math, Enter, Enter. So my slope is negative 13 over 3.
My hand slipped and I messed it up.
You what?
My hand slipped.
Well, just chill. It's okay. Now, I don't care if your y-intercept is a decimal, but not a funky decimal, not a repeating decimal. I do care about that. So since my y-intercept is a decimal, I'm going to say in my calculator 1.6 all the way across. And then what am I going to hit to make it into a beautiful fraction? Math, Enter, Enter. 5/3. There's my beautiful fraction. All right, now, I've got my slope, I've got my y-intercept. Now here's the whole purpose of this. I need to make an equation. I've got my slope and I've got my y-intercept. I now need to make an equation. Y equals, what comes after the equal sign? Okay, time out. Some of you are acting like you are struggling to stay alive. You're acting like you are struggling to stay alive. All right? Come on, guys. When I ask a question out loud, I want you to answer it out loud. All right? Does everybody understand this? What comes after my equal sign on my equation? Is it my slope or my y-intercept? Okay, negative 13 over 3. What has to come after my slope? Very good. X plus 5 over 3. This is my equation. Isaiah, did you write that down? Everybody write this. Negative 3, 3, 7, 6. There are 3 questions they can ask you. Write it down. 3 questions they can ask. There's 3 questions they can ask. They can ask you question 1. What is the slope? They can ask question 2. What is the y-intercept? They can ask question 3. What is the equation? That's the 3 questions they can ask. Now guys, if it's no calculator, you can find the slope with the formula, no problem. But if you have a calculator, you're going to have to be able to find the y-intercept and make an equation. Take your calculator and clear the memory. Let me just write this down just to make sure, because I know it's been a while since you've used these. To clear the memory, you hit that second button, you hit the plus button, and you hit numbers 7, 1, 2. Alright, so here's what they gave me. Here's what they gave me. Patricia, what would be a good thing for me to do first? They gave me this before I touch my calculator. What would be a good idea for me to do first here? I really don't know what you said because you talked so quietly. But I'm going to assume you said rewrite the 7 and the 6 underneath the negative 3 and 3. So I'd like for you to do that. Go ahead and draw your line down through there. Go ahead and put, hey, this is my list 1 and this is my list 2. All right, Jessica, where am I going to go now? What am I going to do in my calculator? What button would I press first? Stat button. Everybody press that stat button. All right, what am I going to hit next? Enter. Stat, then enter. Brings up my list. All right, what am I going to do now? Type your numbers in your list. So negative 3, enter. 7, enter. 3 and 6. Negative 3, Devin, negative 3, enter. 3. I'm sorry, excuse me, 7. Enter. There you memory. Stat head. Negative 3, enter. 7, enter. Go over. 3, enter. 6, enter. Okay, after I have my list, my numbers, I'm just walking around to make sure everybody's got them in there. Hand it back to her. She needs to do it, not you. She needs to press the keys, not you. So if you screw up on your things, clear the memory. Second plus 712. You go back to stack, enter. All right? -3, enter. -3, enter. 7, enter. Go over. 3, enter. 6, enter. All right. Sleep. Good. Now, once you get your stuff in list 1 and list 2, what do you do next? What are you going to hit? Stat. Okay, go back to stat. Everybody hit the stat button. Stat. Then what you going to do? Go over to calculate. What number are we wanting? 4. Now, depending upon what type of calculator you have, you're either going to go down and highlight calculator and hit enter, or you're just going to hit enter, either one. Okay, now I have information. My calculator says A is 0.3, B is 3.9. B is just fine. 3.9, man, I can put that down just like that. Your y-intercept can be a decimal. Yeah, but that's slope. That slope should not be a decimal. So how can I make 0.3 into a fraction? What can I do? What can I do? Type in 0.3, math, enter, enter. Type in 0.3, math, enter, enter. So then you gotta ask me, say, Mr. T, you had a major malfunction here. Stat, calculate 4. So 0.3, math, enter, enter. 0.3, math, enter, enter is what as a fraction? Ooh, I had that ability to make my voice go to a foreign language. Let me ask again. If you put it in your calculator, you ought to have it. 0.3, math, enter, enter changes to what as a fraction? 3/10. Now I want an equation. Y equals what? How do I make the equation? Y equals. What comes after y equals? 3/10 what? X plus 3.9. You can leave it 3.9, that's fine. All right, clear the memory. Second plus 712. Clear the memory. You've got -1, -9, 5, and -6. What should you do first? What would be a good thing to do? Before you touch your calculator, what would be a good thing to do? Rewrite that thing. That's right. Very good. 5, -6. That way you've got your list set up. Now, what can you do? Stat, enter. All right, what goes in list 1? -1 and 5. -1, 5 go in list 1. And you go over and you put -9 and -6. Look at your calculator, look at my calculator. Make sure you've got the same numbers in yours that I have in mine. Can everybody put their list numbers in there? All right, then you're going to go stat, over to calculate, and you want number 4. Well, number 4. Now hit enter. Your calculator said A is 0.5. It said B is negative 8.5. B is okay, just like it is, but what about A? Can I leave A as 0.5? No. What do I need to do to it? Change to a fraction. How do I change it to a fraction? 0.5, math, enter. Changes to what? 1/2. All of you that are not saying a word, I hope you know how to do this. Now, the goal is to make an equation. Y equals. Well, what does y equal? 1/2 x. Don't plus or minus. If your b is minus, just say minus 8.5. Getting a little better with them? Clear your memory. I want you to try this one on your own. Alright, so I'm going to go through this. You check and see what you got here. First thing I would do is rewrite my problem here. Negative 5 and 8, just bring that down here. This is list 1, this is list 2. Everybody good so far? Everybody good? Alright. Well then, I'm going to take my calculator. I'm going to let it help me out a little bit. I'm going to go to stat. I'm going to hit enter, and that brings up my list. Can you do that? Can everybody do that? Alright, see, we've learned something. So I'm going to say negative 4, enter. Negative 5, enter. That goes in list 1. I'm going to come over. I'm going to put in 9, enter, 8, enter. So I've got my numbers in list 1 and list 2. Can everybody do that? Everybody good with that? Chapel, you good with that? Traven, you good with that? Everybody good? Okay, so now I'm going to say stat, over to calculate. What number do I want here? Sometimes I get confused. 4. Woo, sweet. Don't got to change anything. Everything's whole numbers. I like it when it's whole numbers. So my calculator says that is 1 and it says that is 13. And my goal is that I can make an equation. Y equals x plus 13. If you put a 1 in front of the x, that's fine. I'm not going to count that wrong, but you're not going to see a 1 in front of the x. How'd y'all do? How'd y'all do with that? Did y'all do okay? Feel pretty good? All right. Well, let's try another one then. See, you have learned something today. It was worth coming to school. Plus, you got to see me. All right, so put this one in there. Try this one. I'm gonna go through this one. I'm gonna rewrite my stuff. I got -4 and -7. Draw my line. This is list 1, this is list 2. I'm gonna take my calculator, I'm gonna go to stat, enter, I'm gonna put in -4 and -4 in list 1. In list 2, I'm gonna put in 3 and -7. Everybody with me so far? So far now. So I'm gonna go stat, over to calculate, 4, hit enter. Oh, wait a minute. My calculator told me to quit school. It said quit. No, that's not what it meant. If you get an error message, go back and look. See if your X's, see if your numbers in list 1 are the same. If, write this in your notes, your numbers are the same in list 1, then you have a vertical line. And what do we know about vertical lines? The slope is undefined. Now I'm going to draw a vertical line here in my notes. This is my x-axis. This is my y-axis. A vertical line only touches the x. It does not touch the y. It only touches the x. Therefore, it has a special equation. A vertical line has a special equation. Its equation is going to be x equals, and whatever number was in list 1. So for this equation, x equals -4. What does that tell me? I'm going to come over to -4, I'm going to put a dot, and I'm going to make a vertical line. Okay? So if you get an error message, don't panic. Okay? Don't doubt yourself. Just come back and look at your x's. Come back and look at your list 1s. If both of your list 1s are the same, then it's vertical. Now, if you get an error message and you come back and you got 2 different numbers, then you put something in there wrong, just start over. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Let's do another one. So I think we're pretty good at rewriting. I think we're pretty good at coming over here and going to stat and hitting enter. I think you guys have mastered putting in your numbers into your list. I think you've even got stat over to calculate number 4. Check out this line. What did this line say my slope was? What do you know about a line that has no slope, 0 slope? It's what type of line? It's a horizontal line, right? I want you to draw this in your notes. Well, my calculator said my slope was 0. That is correct. It said my y-intercept was -9. If you get one that has a slope of 0, it's a horizontal line. It also has a special equation. Look, the horizontal line only touches what? Does it touch the x or the y? It only touches the y, so its equation is y equals whatever number is your y-intercept. It is not going to have an x. It's not going to have a slope. It's not going to have an x. It's just y equals. Okay? Open up. Get out a sheet of paper and open up Google Classroom to our assignments today. We can do a couple together. Then you're gonna be turned loose and you're gonna do them on your own, and you gotta get them done because you can't take my calculators home with you. So when you open up your assignment, it should look like this today. Some of you are moving too slow. I shouldn't have to call names. You should know who you are. You don't even have your computer out and up. You might want to kick it into high gear. Now, on your work today, not only do I want the slope, I also want an equation. Okay, so not only do I want the slope, I also want an equation. So we're going to start with number 1. We're going to do this one together. I have 3, 5, -2, -2. And I'm going to show you what you can do. When you write these down, you can just go ahead and write it. Wind up like this. You don't even have to write it to the side. You just go ahead and write it up under each other, stacked, and we're good, okay? That'll take a step out of there. All right, so when I write my problem down in that proper order, it takes that step out. Then I'm going to take my calculator. I'm going to edit 3, -2 in list 1. 5, -2 in list 2. Then we'll say stat over to calculate 4. Gonna hit enter. This is what I have. A equals 1.4, B equals 0.8. B can be a decimal, that's fine. Your y-intercept can be a decimal. What about 1.4? How can I clean that up? How can I make that into a fraction? What do I do? 1.4, math, enter, that's right. And that's going to turn into 7/5. Now the goal is that you can write an equation. What's it going to look like? Y equals what? 7/5 x plus 0.8. And circle that final equation. That's what I'm going to look for first. Alright, so I'm going to do number 2 with you. 4, -1. Underneath it, I'm going to write -5, 9. Let's go ahead and write it underneath each other. That way it saves me a step. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I got some funky numbers here. They pretty wild. I'm going to go ahead and write down A equals -1.1 repeating, B equals 3.4 repeating. So I'll know what to put in my calculator. But I want to clean that up. So I'm going to say -1 point, and I'm going to take those ones all the way across there.